Okay, welcome back to the channel. This is a new video regarding the first step of creating your own city in Houdini using the city sample project. Okay, so in this video we'll try to make till this far. Okay, we'll make the tiniest city possible from the perspective of creating a great city. Of course, this is not a real great city to do, but it will help us to go fast as possible with my current power, my new power, my new machine. Okay, and I hope that we will follow along with us till the end of the video. So make sure to follow till the end of the video because there's many answers to the question you have done already done, and also there would be many errors to learn from. So without further ado, let's start with this video. Okay, I would like to thank all the new subscribers to the channel, and I'm sorry if I'm not uploading as much videos recently because I was running into some personal matters that I needed to solve before going back to the channel. So welcome to the thousand of subscribers that come new to the channel. I'm really happy to notice this, and let's continue. In the last Q&A session, we already set up our environment to work with the city sample project and try to make our own custom city. So I already described these steps in my D playlist, but I will try to redo each and every action and try to explain and answer your question while using the city sample. Okay, so let's go with it. And the first thing to do when you need to create your own city is to first start by a new folder. So this is what I will do. I'll make a new folder and I call the city new city, for example, 01. So I already have one, so maybe I choose, yes. So we'll do new city 02, okay. So to make him happy. So this is the first thing to do. The next step would be to copy the Houdini file. I think I already do have this one, so maybe I will start over with the new city one, okay, because I already copied the Houdini folder from the city sample, the small city folder. So when you first extract the small city, you should have this Houdini folder in it, and you should copy also this same folder here for each new city you are creating. This will prevent errors. So this is the first step, and the next step would be to start Houdini. And I always tell you start with the version, the 18.5.532 version and the Python 2.1. So always use this. So the way to verify that you're already okay, you go to the asset manager and you check in the asset manager that you already have the reference to the city sample HDH, meaning the building, the city layout, the city processors, utilities, labs, the freeway, HDA. This is all the HDA needed to make your own city. But your city will be based on this HDA file, so you should already have them. If you already followed the first Q&A session, it's okay, you should be good to go. If not, please do so, and please follow this first video. So always in Houdini, start the work you will do with the geometry node. So that's what we'll do. I will put a geometry node, then dive in it. The next would be to put the curve, but I will not do so. I will start directly with the city layout, and you will understand why I started this way. So I will put the city layout, which is the city layout node, okay? And this is the node responsible for giving your city its shape, its global shape. So I will zoom out and try to go faster with the zoom out. And you can see that we already have this city layout already there in your scene view. So first, maybe we should go in the preference for the user for the 3D ports. No, actually, forget about it. No problem. always try to start with the top view. So this is the top view, and you can already see that I'm having a default city layout to start with. This means that you already have a city layout, and you can already connect this city layout directly to a city processor and start from there. But before going there, what we will do, we'll dive in the city layout and understand why we do have this default view. Okay, so this is the city layout, and we do have this one. So I will dive in, and we see why we do have this shape in the first place. So you can see that in the city layout, we do have some option to start with. And if I go back in the layout and see, for example, what is the input for the city layout, by default, it do have one. You do have grid, the built-in curve, which is the one you are seeing right now, and the manual input where you put your own shape, your own curve for the city layout. Okay, so we'll explore each and every one. We already there in the built-in curve, because you see by default when you grab a city layout, it will start drawing the city layout with the built-in curve, which is a curve which is included with the file, and you can see it right there in the graph. We do have three options, three switches, and this is where the choices come from. So what do we have? We do have the grid, which is, we see what happens when you choose the grid. You do have the included built-in city shape, which is this curve, which is the one you're seeing right now. And the last one would be your city input, which is the one you put there when you choose your city layout. So let's explore the first one. We already see it. It's the built-in curve. And the second one would be the grid. So you have the option to start a city with a rectangular city shape like this one. Actually, it's just a grid cell with 1,000 meters long. And you can start and change the layout. So for example, I will multiply the city grid, and we'll have this kind of city, a rectangular city. Actually, it's not really a great, let's say, natural and existing city shape, but it's there for you. Maybe you need it. Maybe you need to change it and try to make your own. So this is for the second choice when you do have a city layout. And the last one would be where you put your own curve, and this is what you do have already in our tutorials, in our playlist, where you do have to put your own curve. For example, I put a curve, okay, and this curve will be the general shape of the city. So let's say we do have this curve, something like that, okay, and I close the curve, and it will be the input for my city layout. So before having, for example, the changes made, you can see that no changes whatsoever happens. This was because when you go back to the city layout, we are still in the grid mode. So we should change it to the manual input, and you can see now that it follows the manual input you choose. And of course, you can change the shape of city by moving the points that are included with the curve. So this is the way to change the city layout. Okay, so only one advice would be to have this city layout going okay, is you need to make it bigger enough, because if you don't make it big, you will have a number of errors, and Houdini will tell you that he can't draw the city. Okay, so for example, let's say that we are satisfied with this current shape, and let's go back, for example, to the grid one. Okay, let's go to the grid and try to start with a small grid. By default, it starts with 1,000. So let's make it, for example, smaller, and see what happens if we put on, for example, a city processor, and see what happens. So you can see that I'm not following exactly the guide the tutorial I've already made. I'm not following the documentation. I'm trying just to experiment with the nodes, and we'll see uh, um, what happens when we try to put our own city shape. So let's see what happens, and you can see right there that the city processor is unable to draw. You do have this kind of errors. So many of you in the comments show this kind of errors. I'm failure to cook, for example, the template geometry. I'm not able to draw the city. The reason why is you already, for example, tried one option which Houdini or the city processor can't use to, for example, draw the city. The best way to try to solve this error is to go dive in the network and try to find where the error is. So if you check this, you can see that we do have a link where the error is happening in the network, in the layout network, and you could click and go where the error is happening. So you can see there, for example, this is where we do have this triangle, the red triangle, and you can see that we do have an error right here. So if you go to this node, you can see that group 21, for example, is not a valid group, and this happens that it's not really good. For example, you do have the too close to arterial, which means that uh, the node can't be able to draw anything from what you already provide as a whole shape. So the best way to correct the error is, for example, to make the city may change it, for example, to density and see what happens. For example, I managed to solve some error, for example, by changing the density or changing, for example, the road network, but it's not always obvious to find what happens, especially when you have this kind of graph and this kind of complexity going on. So the best way is always to put free, for example, with the full preview to see what happens there, and always give the layout a name. This is one of the common error, and most of you do it, and I do it myself because I always forget to put a name for the city layout. Most of the errors can be solved by putting a name for the city layout. Okay, so what I do, for example, if I do have, I will check this refresh automatically node. So this will, and try to make mm, uh, for example, click this button to make it redraw the shape, and you see that it's not solving the error. So what I will do, I will, for example, make a bigger shape for the city and see what happens. Okay, so I do have this curve. I can't see the shape for the grid because it's not shown by default. So what I will do, I will put it back and try to do a refresh and see what happens. So this is not solving it. So maybe I should go back to the manual input and see what happens. So you can see, for example, that here, look at that. So you see that I just solved the error by just changing the shape of the city. See for yourself. So this is already okay here. And what we will do, we'll go also to the city processor, which will make it redraw itself, and we should be good to go. So as a good advice, always put the city processor on a manual mode. This way it will save you time, especially if you don't have great computing power in your computer. So what I will do now is I will refresh also automatically the error. This will help to the city to redraw itself. And sometimes what I do is that I just delete the city processor. Okay, I will withdraw it from the network and put a new one. And most of the cases, this will save you. So we'll put the city processor right there. Okay. So wait for it. Always, like I said, always put the city processor on manual manual mode before putting the node, because this will take less time to compute. So actually I'll go back to auto update, no worries, because I do have a better computing power, so I think I should be good to go with it. Okay, so I will put the city processor and I will go back to the perspective view and see what happens. I think we are still having the same error. Okay, so what is happening? So failure to cook geometry, you can see it's from the beginning of the network and it's happening for, actually this is another error where it is complaining because it doesn't have a freeway. Okay, so this I think we should be good to go for the city layout, and for the landmark building I will do another video for that. Okay, so right now what we will do, we'll focus, we will put a new freeway in our city layout. So the way we'll do it, I will do the fastest way possible. Okay guys, this is where you put a freeway in the fastest way possible. Okay, so I will go back to the top view. Okay, and I will draw a new curve which will be our freeway. So the way to do that, I will put a curve, okay, and make sure that I can see the curve. I can see my city layout. The way to do that is I will put this option where you can see, you can work on the curve, but you can also see the city layout, and you choose this this option, okay, and start drawing your curve. So what I will do, I will start doing this curve, and I will not do let's say a connection to the roads. Okay, so what I will do, this is what I found by myself, and I will close the loop. Okay, so this way this curve will be the freeway. And the next node will be obviously to put the freeway util curve attributes. So we'll put it there, connect the curve to the curve attribute, then look for the freeway input, which is the second one. So the first one in the city processor is the city layout, the second is the freeway. And try to cook the city and see what happens. So I hope this answers most of the question you already faced. And Houdini in itself is not complicated. You should just follow the errors and see for yourself. You can see that most of the errors are self-explaining, and most of them you should try to solve them and see, dive in the networks each time and see where the errors comes from. So you always do this triangle, click on it, go see for yourself, and you do have a link for the error happenings. Okay, so it took about 2 minutes to finish the city. So you can see that this is the simplest city you can do. Okay, so what I will do, I go back to the perspective view, and you can see that we do have city there. Okay, so I'll try to dive in it, and you see for yourself. This is it. This is really the fastest way to put on a city. So if in case you notice that just all the biggest buildings have approximately the same let's say height. Okay, so the way to correct this is to continue your tutorial and continue the instruction of the manual and to put city zones. This is the only way to have some heights in building heights in the city. Okay, so by default you can see with these nodes, only these nodes, with the for example this. Okay, so no freeway connected to the roads, only a quick round freeway in the middle of the city. So let's say that we do want, for example, these buildings to go higher. Okay, so the way to do that is we'll go back to the top view, and what I will do, I will draw, for example, a curve in the middle of this city. Okay, so what I will do, I start with the curve. Okay, put the curve right here and start drawing in the middle of the So I just close the curve. Okay, so I do have this curve. So I don't know if you can see it clearly, but no worries. So what I will put a city zone. Okay, and I will connect the curve to the city zone. So by default, we do have buildings something like 300 meters height and a conic shape. So what I will do, I will put more, for example, cones in the global shape. And we'll put, for example, something like 500 height, okay? And before going to the, so you can see this is the city zone. It's in the middle of the city, okay? So you can see it right here. This is the city zone. And obviously, all the buildings that will be under this shape will do have the variant heights. The maximum would be 500, okay? So what we will do, we will connect this to the city zones, the third one in the city layout, okay? So I do have some crash and error right here. Okay, what happens? Okay, so I think I totally lost my work. So I will, okay, no worries. I will start from the beginning. And the first thing to do is save your file. Okay, this way you. Actually, wait a second. I think I do have this one. Okay, this is the crash entitled user. Maybe this is our file. Okay, but I'm not really sure. So let's try. Okay, just open it. Overwrite. Yes, overwrite. Will it? No, no. Yeah, no joy. Okay. Okay, let's start from the beginning, guys. Okay, no problem. So we'll start with the new one. Okay, and we'll save it in. Ah, man, this is frustrating. Okay, no problem. So let's go with the city sample source folder and put it in new city O1 and let's name it new city O1. So this way, so always do this, guys. When you start your work, always start by saving a new file. Okay, so this will prevent errors in when you work. Okay, so you can see right now that if I dive in the new city height, you can see that each time I will make a change to the file, it will be reflected on disk. For example, let's start with the geometry node. Okay, put on a city layout. So you can see that each time you start your work, you will have, okay, this is the city, the the grid that comes with the city layout by default. So next step would be to name the city, new city O1. Always do this step. Make a save, okay. This way we will prevent our crashes. So I I think it's a good error, okay, because you can see that if you make the save, for example, Houdini will create a backup folder for you. And each time you made savings, you will find your backup files here. So, but if you don't save, no backup, okay? So I hope this is a good lesson for me and for you guys, okay? Okay, so welcome back. This is probably the tiniest city you will ever run to, okay? So I already changed so many things that I'm not sure that I can follow along and make them again. So what I will do, I will just request in the comments, okay, guys, and I will put this file, okay, the new city one on the my drive, and will share it for each and every one of you, okay. So I think this is pretty much it for this session. Let's hope that I answered some of your question, okay, at least not all your question, but I hope that I just make the things clearer to you and make it much clear. So what I will do, I will stop now, okay, because this this video is already length. Okay, so In the next step, what we will do, we'll try to answer the question regarding the exporting of the city to Unreal Engine and how to import it back. Okay, so I will review how to make the export, okay, from Houdini, then do the import, and maybe it will be a lengthy session, okay, but sorry, there is no way to do it other in another way, okay. So bear with us in the next video, okay. So I would like to thank all the new subscribers to this channel. If you're not already subscribed, please do so. It really helps to know that there are some people there that care for your work. So thanks again. Thanks for your following along to this. If you make it this far in this video, and I hope I will see you in my next videos.